the most expensive old artworks ever sold at auction. Maybe the first question comes to your mind. Why is some painting artwork so expensive? Simply, art can be so expensive because of its art historical value, its importance as a piece of cultural heritage, and how it shaped the world as we know it today. Art can be so expensive due to its collectible character, its scarcity, the universal law of supply and demand, and its potential return on investment. Art can be expensive due to the privilege and social status of owning such a masterpiece. So no wonder that some value of painting artwork can reach $1 billion. In this video we'll mention 15 paintings artworks. So let's dive into it. Starting with number 15. Jacopo Pontormo, Portrait of a Halberdier, 1529. Price: $35.2 million. Sold at Christie's, New York in 1989. Italian Mannerist Jacopo Pontormo's 16th-century portrait of a young man in military dress went for $35.2 million to the J. Paul Getty Museum in California. Thought to be a portrait depicting either Florentine Duke Cosimo I de' Medici or nobleman Francesco Guardi, it was estimated to sell for $20 million. At the time of the sale it more than tripled the previous record for an old master's picture sold at auction, Andrea Mantegna's Adoration of the Magi, which sold for $10.5 million at Christie's in 1985. Before going to auction, the painting had been on view since 1970 at the Frick Collection. It was sold by executors for the estate of New York philanthropist Chauncey Devereux Stillman. Number 14. Francesco Guardi, Venice, A View of the Rialto Bridge, Looking North, 1760s. Price: $43 million. In 2011, a monumental 18th-century painting of a view of Venice by Italian painter Francesco Guardi sold to an anonymous bidder for a record price of $43 million at Sotheby's in London. Painted in the mid-1760s, the canvas was passed down through generations of the Guinness family, which offered it at auction. It outperformed, selling slightly above its estimate of $43 million. Number 13. J.M.W. Turner, Modern Rome, Campo Vaccino, 1839. Price: $44.9 million. In 2010, J.M.W. Turner's Modern Rome, Campo Vaccino sold for £29.7 million at Sotheby's, realizing the second highest price ever achieved for the British artist at auction. The winning bidder was dealer Hazlitt, Gooden & Fox, who bid for the work on behalf of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, where the painting now resides permanently. Scott J. Schaefer, the Getty's curator of paintings at the time, told the New York Times that it was the best Turner of all time on the occasion of the purchase. Sold from the Rothschild family collection, the work depicts an Italian city and acts as a showcase for Turner's technical prowess. The painting had appeared on the market only once before Sotheby's sale in the 171 years since it was completed. Number 12. J.M.W. Turner, Rome, From Mount Aventine, 1836. Price: $47.6 million. In December 2014, British artist J.M.W. Turner's Rome, From Mount Aventine set a record for the artist when it sold for $47.6 million at Sotheby's, London. Originally painted for the artist's friend publisher John Pye, the work realized a price that made Turner the most expensive pre-20th century British artist of all time. Number 11. Raphael, Head of a Young Apostle, 1519. Price: $47.8 million. In December 2012, at Sotheby's London sales room, a 16th-century drawing by Renaissance titan Raphael sold for $47.8 million after a 17-minute battle between four bidders. The dramatic sale set an auction record for the artist, doubling its pre-sale estimate. Sold from the prominent Devonshire collections at Chatsworth House in Bakewell, England, where the work resided since the early 18th century, the work drew a result was 3 times its pre-sale low estimate of £10 million. It was completed as a study for the artist's last painting, the biblical scene The Transfiguration, which is held by the Vatican Museum. Number 10. Raphael, Head of a Muse, 1510. Price: $48 million. In the early 16th century, Raphael was commissioned by the court of Pope Julius II to paint frescoes for the Stanza della Segnatura, the papal library and private office. Head of a Muse was completed as a preliminary draft during Raphael's preparation for one of the biggest achievements of the Renaissance, the Parnassus, a fresco for the Vatican depicting the mythical story of Mount Parnassus. Its first recorded owner was Dutch collector Goswinus Eulenbroek in 1725, later passing through the hands of Sir Thomas Lawrence, an artist and prominent Old Master Drawings collection, and then to King William II of Holland. The work, the last drawing related to Raphael's Vatican commission that was still privately owned, first came to market in 2009 at Christie's, where two bidders sparred over it. Eventually, it hammered at £29 million, going to an anonymous phone bidder for almost double its estimate of £16 million. Number 9. Sandro Botticelli Portrait of a Young Man Holding a Roundel, 1480. Price: $92.2 million. In January 2021, Italian Renaissance master Sandro Botticelli's portrait of a young man holding a roundel sold at Sotheby's in New York for a record-breaking $92.2 million. The rare portrait, said to be one of the last secular Botticelli portraits in private hands, went to a Russian buyer bidding on the phone with Sotheby's London-based specialist Lilia Sidnica, hammering at its pre-sale estimate of $80 million. Coming from the collection of the late real estate developer Sheldon Solo, who bought it in 1982 for $1.3 million. Number 8. Edvard Munch, The Scream, 1895. Price: $135.2 million. Sotheby's Auction, New York, May 2, 2012. Munch's most famous creation, The Scream, set a new world record when it was sold in 2012, knocking Picasso off the top spot. It was on display at the British Museum in April 2019, with many other of Munch's works and preliminary drawings on paper. Number 7. Pablo Picasso, Garçon à la Pipe, 1905. Price: $142.7 million. Sotheby's Auction, New York, May 2004. Garçon à la Pipe is an oil painting depicting a Parisian boy who holds a pipe and wears a garland, surrounded by flower decorations. It is the fifth most expensive painting by Picasso. The painting is a masterpiece, however its sale for such a high price sparked controversy in the art world. Art critics consider it as a minor painting of Picasso, yet it is a compelling artwork that is able to convey the immortal adolescent beauty. Number 6. Baishi, 12 Landscape Screens, 1925. Price: $148.7 million. Beijing Poly Auction, December 2017. This painting is unique on our list. It is the only painting that was not sold by either Christie's or Sotheby's, as well as the only one that was not sold in New York. 12 Landscape Screens, a collection of ink landscapes, set a new record for the most expensive piece of Chinese art sold at auctions worldwide. This is further proof of the growing wealth and influence of the Asian market. Number 5. Pierre-Auguste Renoir, Bal du Moulin de la Galette, 1876. Price: $154.7 million. Sotheby's Auction, New York, May 1990. The painting is a smaller version of the identical picture exhibited at the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. At the time of its sale, it was one of the two most expensive artworks ever sold. It was purchased by Ryo Saito, an honorary chairman of a paper factory in Japan. In 1991, Saito caused an international outrage when he declared that he wanted to cremate the painting with him when he died. After the severe financial difficulties of his company, the painting is believed to be in the much safer hands of a Swiss collector. Number 4. Francis Bacon, 3 Studies of Lucian Freud, 1969. Price: $158.2 million. Christie's Auction, New York, November 2013. 3 Studies of Lucian Freud is another artwork that recently soared straight to the top of the most expensive list. The extraordinary value of this piece comes not only from Francis Bacon's own great reputation, but also from its great ability to capture his relationship with the subject, his great friend Lucian Freud. Number 3. Van Gogh, Portrait of Dr. Gachet, 1890. Price: $163.4 million. Christie's Auction, New York, May 1990. Despite arguments over its authenticity, one of the most revered paintings by the Dutch artist Van Gogh depicts Dr. Paul Gachet, who took care of the artist during the final months of his life. Sad but gentle, clear and intelligent, the doctor's melancholic face carries the heartbroken expression of our time. Number 2. Rembrandt van Rijn, Pendant Portraits of Maerten Soelmans and Eupen Koppet, 1634. Price: $195 million. In February 2016, the Dutch and French governments, on behalf of the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam and the Louvre in Paris, carried out a landmark joint private acquisition of Rembrandt's rare pendant portraits depicting Dutch couple Maerten Soelmans and Eupen Capet. Facilitated by Christie's, the works were purchased through a private deal for prices between €80 million each. Completed in 1634, the intricately painted portraits of the newlyweds showcased the sitter's patronage of the young artist, who at the time was only 28. The rare portraits, which are the only known full-length paintings by Rembrandt, were formerly in the Rothschild collection in 1878. Before the private sale, they had last been exhibited publicly in 1956 in the Netherlands. While the two paintings are owned separately, due to French law, the museums have pledged that the pair will always be showcased together at either museum. Number 1. Leonardo da Vinci, Salvator Mundi, 1500. Price: $450.3 million. Arguably the most widely publicized art sale in history was the auction of Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, which raked in more than $450 million at Christie's New York in 2016 during a post-war and contemporary art event. After a drawn-out 19-minute-long bidding war, Salvator Mundi became the most expensive artwork ever sold at auction. Sold from a private European collection, the winning buyer was later revealed to be Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. The work depicts Christ signaling the cross with his right hand and holding a translucent orb in his left. Long believed to be a copy of a lost Leonardo work, the painting was retributed to the Renaissance master following its restoration in 2006. Prior to the sale, the painting went on display in 2011 at the National Gallery in London. Despite all the attention paid to the work, many historians have cast doubt on whether Leonardo really painted Salvator Mundi, and it did not appear in the Louvre's 2019 Leonardo retrospective. Maybe you are asking yourself now, where is the Mona Lisa? Why is it not on the list? Simply, because we are talking about the artworks which have been sold in an auction. While the Mona Lisa is located at the Louvre Museum in Paris. But you have the right to ask. The estimated cost for the Mona Lisa price is approximately $860 million and some say over $1 billion. You seem to like the video, so don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And tell us in the comments, which painting caught your attention?